Welcome back, everybody. Brian Wynne, AUVSI, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Phil Burks, who is the CEO of Phirst, one of our great companies at AUVSI, and also a finalist for the Excellence Awards, which are going to be announced at Exponential in October. So congratulations, Phil, and thanks for joining me today.
Absolutely, Brian. It's great to be with you.
So, Phil, as I explained before we got started here, we're just learning a little bit about your company and the solution that you're bringing to the marketplace. I know that Phirst has been around since 2017, but evidently the brainchild of work that you've been doing for much longer. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and also about Phirst?
Happy to, Brian. Thanks so much. Yeah, about 30 years ago, I started a software company because I tell people I'm fundamentally lazy. If I have to do something more than once, I want a machine to do it for me or a website to have the information or something like that, something to automate a process. So I started a software company to provide software to people that had two-way radio communications networks. We did that for about 15 years, 10 years or 15 years, and then we began getting public safety customers who had these two-way communication networks. And our software was to monitor and manage those networks. And of course, we picked up a lot of clients through the years globally. And now, as we fast forward, we have over 900 public safety customers and over 1,500 total customers globally. We have an office in London and in Melbourne and then in Mexico City. And we do software to help manage the two-way radio networks and for our first responders. One of the pieces that came out of this was a piece of software. In fact, it's one of the logos that I'm wearing today. We all wear logos all the time. And it's called Genesis Pulse. We realized that we had the ability to tie into 911 CAD systems, computer-aided dispatch systems, and to do a higher, more efficient way to dispatch ambulance, fire, and other first responders to scenes. We then got a partnership with Waze, which if you've ever used Waze, is a great navigation tool.
It is. I do use it all the time.
Yeah. And we also have a partnership with Rapid SOS. Have you come across Rapid SOS, Brian?
That I'm not familiar with.
Rapid SOS has a kernel that's baked into our iPhones and into Android devices that can better locate people within roughly plus or minus 50 feet. On a 911 call. It's enabling that high accuracy. So those two things went inside Genesis Pulse to get ambulances and fire trucks to incidents more efficiently, faster, and more accurately in location. We learned that we could actually know about incidents on average 4.5 minutes ahead of 911 calls 40% of the time. So we got thinking, that's great situational awareness time. What can we do with that? So I got talking to a friend at the time and, about this 4.5 minutes. And he says, well, drones can actually be programmed to fly by themselves. And I said, what? And we then put together a concept. I've since bought out his interest in our company, which is technically Phirst Technologies with a PH because I'm Phil. And the product is Phirst Eyes, to have a drone that can go from a button click through the whole process with the FAA, with Lance and UTM when it comes out, put a program into the bird is hot, ready to go, it takes off and goes at 60 miles an hour ahead many times of our first responders, giving visual and thermal, and we also have the capability to do gas sniffing at the scene and give them that situational awareness that they so desperately need and launch within less than a minute and be there on the scene at a mile a minute, and then loiter on the incident until they are recalled and get ready for the next mission. That's in a nutshell.
Well, that's fantastic stuff. The 4.5 minutes you say, that is, if that's me and I'm on the street and I'm needing assistance, that's a lifetime and maybe saving my life right there. So that's cool.
Yes. And Brian, what I tell people all the time is, what about if it's your home that's on fire? That 4.5 minutes can save the lives of your family if they know I have to approach from the northwest, not the southeast, because there's some road construction that we're not going to get through to get to Brian's house.
So Phil, that's a really, really interesting point. And people get tired of me bringing this up, but my son actually makes his living as a paramedic. He's also just happens to be a Part 107 certificated drone pilot. And he talks about the importance of being able to be on, get information in advance. And because he's in the Charleston, South Carolina area, one of the fastest growing areas in the country, yeah, traffic information, that can be the difference between
Huge.
air and time and not. So yeah, it's extremely important stuff.
And since he's flying for those hazmat type situations, it's important to get, again, what type of hazardous material is there. Something that we have that we've added is our sniffer. It's called the Eagle Sniffer, and it's carbon nanotube based device that refreshes itself 4 times a second. So we have the ability on the bird as we fly in to take it down to the deck safely, sniff the air, find out what kind of hazardous material is there. We have about 20 different anes that we can pick up: hexane, methane, propane, butane, such like this, ammonia, CO, CO2, all these, and give that instantly back to the incident commander so they know how to get in there and respond. It's phenomenal technology that we're exploiting here.
So the basis of your solution is really software. It's as I picked up here in doing some of the research, you're platform independent, right? So basically you're going to be, I presume that, say, a first responder unit in some county somewhere in the United States with the equipment that they've got would be able to utilize your solution?
Part of it.
Or is that a little bit of an oversimplification?
A little bit oversimplification, but let's go from there. So we have a port that we have designed. We call it a drone port, aka like an airport would be, but it's the box for the drone. It is ubiquitous. It is an air-conditioned, heated box that can fit all the way up to the frame size of a DJI S900, and we have added in a lot of smarts into it for safety, for a deck that opens up and a lift that comes up. We have a charging system for contact-based charging. The whole idea is that a drone can sit inside there and stay hot, ready to go, GPS enabled, because it's got an RF transparent ceiling in it, and with a push of a button, it can be launched. That can work with anybody's drone or drones. To tie into our whole ecosystem that allows the click of a button from 911 launch, it does have to have our smarts on the bird. Now, so happens our drones are being made with that already baked into them, and so it's a complete system that's already designed to be put together. But yeah, the drone port, it's anybody's.
Okay, and I would think that even though we've been talking about this in terms of public safety or in terms of emergency response, for example, we were just talking during the FAA UAS symposium. Kurt Schaefer, who runs the airports side of the FAA, was talking about how increasingly important drones are being used for various operational things at airports. And my favorite as a pilot is, hey, can we please clear that runway of the deer as I'm coming in for final landing or on short landing, having to go around, or worse, I'm committed to the landing. And, so I would think that there's a good example of something where you could, immediately launch a drone if somebody's reported foreign object debris or they've reported wildlife in the vicinity or things like that, and get a quick look. That might be huge for situational awareness.
Oh, it's huge, Brian. We, as we've talked with our first responders and airports and others, one of the big problems they all have is the sometimes 25 minutes it takes to get a drone from, the back of their truck out, take it out, assemble it, fire it up, get it calibrated, and then have it take off, which that's all that we've ever had. So it's better than zero, which is phenomenal. But what if we can get that to the point where it's all hot, ready to go? It's sitting at the end of the runway. If that's the biggest use case, they push a button, it comes up, and one or two of them goes down and does the artificial intelligence just to look for that for an object, stuff or the wildlife. And there's other use cases for that. Flying programmed missions autonomously around prison borders, around other borders, around theme parks, around just the list just goes on and on, because we overuse the term situational awareness, but my word, we live in a world of situational awareness. Our cars talk to us, our refrigerators talk to us. That's situational awareness, and why not have that for big campus type situations as well?
Yeah, indeed. So we're doing this series in the context of a global pandemic, and obviously this is it's a tricky subject, because we know that we can and we are adding value to certain situations with this technology, but clearly this is a national health emergency. We can't solve that national health emergency with UAS and with unmanned systems technology, but clearly we can still add value to society. How does it look from your perspective? How can this technology be valuable in a moment like this?
Absolutely. My statement that I make on this is not the first pandemic. This is not going to be the last pandemic. So we have to be pan-pandemic. We have to figure out how we're going to do this across, or trans-pandemic as well. And I think one of the benefits that we have is the more hands-off that we are going to find ourselves to be, this is a way to approach an incident without actually having to physically be there and put a person in danger, and with a device that's automated and it's safe to be able to do that. Thing two on this is the fact that we are going to get better and better about the ability to do temperature sensing and other sensors that we can use to get, again, better situational awareness for our folks. And thing three, I see, and this is looking way into the future, as we are seeing, as AUVSI is seeing more and more autonomous vehicles, I also see where drones will become just as universal and ubiquitous as a self-driving delivery vehicle or anything else, where it can take off on sensor information and go on its own. So thus, you don't have to end up having a pilot in charge or a remote pilot in charge, where it's just gotten to be so good that it can do it on its own. A little scary maybe, but I believe it's going to come.
And a lot of that's going to be software too. A lot of it is just how do we integrate, in a system of systems, how do we take information and make sure that we're applying the right solution. So,
right.
Well, Phil, great work that you're doing. Really appreciate you taking time today, and look forward to seeing you hopefully at Exponential.
Absolutely.
So in the meanwhile, stay safe.
And you too, Brian. Thank you.